This presentation treats the Hilbert book model project. The target of the project is the generation of a mathematical model that can be used in order to investigate the structure of the foundation and the lower levels of the structure of physical reality. I am a retired physicist. I spent my career in high-tech industry.
This lecture introduces you to the Hilbert book model. The model deviates considerably from the models that constitute contemporary physics. The model is strictly based on a trustworthy foundation. The Hilbert book model selects Hilbert spaces for that purpose. The model applies a system of Hilbert spaces. These Hilbert spaces all apply the same underlying vector space. The Hilbert book model represents my personal view on the lower layers of fundamental physics. A quaternionic Hilbert space can easily be structured as a dynamic model in which all past, present, and future geometric data are stored. Therefore, the corresponding space progression model becomes paginated like a book. It consists of an ordered sequence of static submodels. That is why the project got its name Hilbert book model. Please look at the book or paper, The Setbacks of Theoretical Physics. This is part 8 of a multi-part presentation. This part concerns ways to save humanity, ways to save the climate, ways to save modular type communities, ways to save life on Earth, physical reality versus human control, if robots take over, religion versus science, intuition, logical reasoning, politics, how democracy controls, how autocracy controls, how physical reality controls everything. In this part we take the consequences of the Hilbert book model for humanity. The Hilbert book model predicts serious consequences for humanity. The truth can be denied, but it can never be silenced. Humans belong to the intelligent species that occur on Earth. However, intelligence is not evenly distributed amongst individual humans. Less intelligent humans tend to relate truth to trust. They require trust to believe the truth. Less intelligent humans rely on their intuition. Intuition is often controlled by emotions and appears a bad guidance. Humans with higher intelligence tend to reason logically and know how to apply existent knowledge. Intelligent humans can control less intelligent people and know how to control their living environment. Leaders of human communities are often more intelligent than most of their followers. The followers often get reward for being a follower. The reward is then the reason for being and staying a follower. Also, the footprints of humans, in the sense that they put a load on their environment, is not evenly distributed. Humans that live close to nature usually keep this footprint low. Wealthy humans usually do not care much about the negative consequences of their footprint. Humans with low intelligence cannot properly care about their footprint. Many humans flee their habitat to get a less marginal footprint. Companies must be enforced to keep their footprint within bounds. Resources are not evenly distributed geometrically on the surface of the Earth. This holds especially for rare resources. Resources are often considered as property of the local community. However, a local or neighbor government may claim this ownership. Wars are started to dispute ownership of valuable resources. The press exists in many forms, and each form has a different role, and each role has a different influence on humans and human communities. The journalist that by intensive research or by accidental discovery produces original news. The ruminant journalists operate usually in groups and discuss existing news that mostly is published by official news media. The journal often produce fake news about people that usually gets embarrassed by this activity. Scientific journalism usually restricts to the person or results of well-known scientists. Seldomly these journalists focus on new developments in mathematics or physics. The press has an undeserved influence on politicians that constitute democratic governments. In this way the press influences democratic elections. The press also influence dictators that try to govern based on lies. Sometimes the press controls the behavior of dictators. Press can stimulate and guide buying behavior. Advertisement often goes via press media. Humans cannot think and communicate about things without providing these things with identification in the form of a name or pointer and a short compact description. The curious thing is that physical reality can function without these limitations. Yet physical reality also appears to have to adhere to strict rules and existing structures. Many researchers have come to know these rules and structures to a large extent, and they formulate them in what they call mathematics and physics. Other researchers doubt whether humans can discover the calculation rules that physical reality uses. This hampers the discussions between these researchers. Physical reality has its own structure and behavior. For humans, physical reality is immutable. Physical reality reacts on local and global conditions. Physical reality is not directly controllable by human emotions, human-installed governments, human-installed rules, human argumentation, human begs, human attorneys or human armies. This attitude of physical reality also holds with respect to other living species. Physical reality is unflappably. Humanity lives in a prison which is defined by the product of the lifetime of the community of the human species and the speed of light. Several dangers threat to diminish that lifetime. The individual humans will suffer most, and their prospects will be severely shortened. The prison represents only a very tiny part of the universe and does not extend beyond the solar system. The prison for the individual humans is orders of magnitude smaller. Humans can never escape. It is astonishing to see how badly human communities can handle the outrun of resources, can prevent wars, can prevent terrorism, and can prevent economic crises. Humanity has difficulty managing pandemic outbreaks. By humans. Democracy is considered the most effective solution. Nationalism is considered a bad solution. None of these views appear to be right. On Earth, physical reality controls the climate change in response to the footprints of the ensemble of their living species. Physical reality is a harsh controller that does not care about collateral damage. Physical reality is a judge that does not accept lawyers that defend the victims. This is in strong contrast to the government systems that humans have installed. The deterioration of the climate is the most important factor that might reduce the lifetime of the community of the human species. On Earth, climate deterioration will affect all living species. Humans have installed an economic system that uses money or the equivalent of money value as a medium of exchange that replaces a direct applicable resource. Governmental systems rule the handling of the exchange medium. The corresponding judges are not inexorable. These systems accept lawyers and negotiations with interested parties. This sloppy system must respond to the very efficient physical reality controlling system. It will soon lose the battle. The sloppy control by humans can be misused by other humans in so many ways that the list of misuses in this presentation is far from exhausting. Governments give banks and investing institutions the role to control value of money. Wealthy individuals often operate as investors. Wealthy families often operate as investment institutions. Pensions often operate as investment institutions. However, governments usually claim a supervising controlling role over the banks and investment institutions. Banks earn their income by providing their customers loans against a higher interest than these customers get over money saved by these customers at the bank. If the interest over the loan is too high, then the bank is considered a loan shark. Often loan sharking is forbidden by the supervising government. The supervising government forbids offering loans to criminals or criminal organizations. Besides loans, banks offer mortgages. A mortgage is a legal agreement by which a bank, building society, etc. lends money at interest in exchange for taking title of the debtor's property, with the condition that the conveyance of title becomes void upon the payment of the debt. The governments operate a central bank. The central bank requires the banks to maintain sufficient reserves. These reserves are usually stored in rare resources that are withdrawn from their usual usage. Also, merchandising companies control investments. Many leaders of companies act merely as investment bookkeepers and have little knowledge of what the company does with that investment. This is an attitude that is risky both for the company and for the investors. Other company leaders control the investment and know and comprehend what is done with that investment. The leaders of small companies usually know better what the company does than that they can do the company's accounting. Criminals and criminal organizations form a separate controlling system operated by humans. This system does not accept the ruling role of by humans installed governments. These governments try to eliminate the criminal organizations and try to disable the individual criminals. It is impossible to cure physical reality. All other controlling systems must cope with the existence of physical reality. It is impossible to cure physical reality. However, it is possible to influence the conditions to which physical reality reacts. So, on Earth, indirectly, humans can control physical reality. Diminish your individual footprint by consuming less resources. Lower your usage of energy by applying means that require less energy per hour and shorten the time that these means are used. Avoid activities that deteriorate the climate. Especially rare resources must be saved. Protest spoiling resources by others. Avoid energy and waste spill. Actively lower the energy usage of your house. Avoid that energy leaks into Earth's atmosphere. Store overflow energy properly isolated. Isolate the buildings. Travel less costly to the climate. Keep living close to your occupation. Leave nature intact. Generate energy for your usage without adding energy to the environment. Do not apply energy that is retrieved from coal mines, oil fields, and natural gas reservoirs. Do not cool nuclear reactors or power plants such that the heat reaches the atmosphere. Often the advice is given to implement heat exchangers. This is a dangerous advice because heating up and heating down always goes with less than 100% efficiency. The loss of energy of these actions is spreading over planet Earth and contributes to climate deterioration. Often these advices are given by technicians that are no experts in heat exchange physics. Cure the government systems. Punish climate deteriorators. Make unaware sinners aware of their wrong choice. Cure the government systems. Replace the democratic control system. Make adherents aware of their wrong choice. Cure the government systems. Stop dictatorship and other forms of repression. Indicate chaotic leaders. Indicate leaders that tend to expand their power at the cost of other human communities. Indicate leaders that oppress religion to the humans that they govern. Indicate leaders that govern with measures that break internationally agreed law. Indicate leaders that willingly use open lies to get their goals. Make adherents of these leaders responsible for their false choice. The repressors are well known. All media report about them on their daily news messages. Humans that rob other people's children to re-educate them, must be taken out of action and must be punished severely. Especially leaders must be accounted for such sins. Each individual human counts. My contribution is so small that it does not count is an obvious lie. Humans are with billions and the footprint of each individual attributes. You have no right to spoil the climate for other living species. Every human must try to reduce his/her footprint. The economic cost can never be used as an excuse. Resources may not be spoiled. This especially holds for rare resources. In this part we take the consequences of the Hilbert book model for humanity. The Hilbert book model predicts serious consequences for humanity. The Hilbert book model embraces the special set. This special set determines in detail how the separable and non-separable Hilbert spaces behave. For physical reality, one of the members of a system of Hilbert spaces plays the role of background Hilbert space. This happens both for systems of separable and for systems of non-separable Hilbert spaces. This special role confuses many scientists. The set of closed subspaces of a separable Hilbert space is lattice isomorphic with what was called quantum logic. The quantum logic lattice structure enables merely the modularization of abstract structures, like the set of closed subspaces of Hilbert spaces. Also, this fact guided many scientists that were searching for the foundations of physics in the wrong direction. Hilbert spaces archive the version of the number system that they apply. In addition, the Hilbert space archives its hopping path. A system of separable Hilbert spaces appears to represent a universe. One of these Hilbert spaces takes the role of the background Hilbert space and will represent the universe. The symmetry differences with this background Hilbert space determine the properties of the fermions that the other Hilbert spaces represent. The Hilbert spaces archive their type-related properties. These properties enable the modular structure of the content of the universe. On Earth, the modular design and construction produced living species. The living species archive their type-related properties in RNA and DNA. Apparently, the archival of type-related properties is essential for defining interfaces between members of modular systems. A system of non-separable Hilbert spaces appears to represent a universe. This system can represent a parallel multiverse. The constituting universes cover space with encapsulated regions that are influenced by one or more black holes. A Big Bang never occurred. At the beginning of time, the generation of new elementary fermions occurred similarly to the generation that plays at later instances. The multiverse exists in two episodes. One before the start of time and one after time started running. Robots may be the next step in the evolution to more intelligent modular systems. Computers and advances in robust modular design may enable this new evolution step. The prison of robots will be wider than the prison for the human species. It is questionable if this prison will soon reach beyond the solar system. A danger exists that the robots will overwhelm the human species. It is also possible that a healthy and well-regulated cooperation can be established. Seldomly religions are beneficial to human species. Often the religion is used to establish power over large groups of followers. This power can be applied by the leaders of the religion. Preachers may be used to spread the religion. Preachers also help to establish and increase the power of the religion. Religions can offer their believers trust and internal freedom of anxiety. Computer software exists about 3/4 of a century. It exists in several forms. Software that operates on top of an operating system, OS, that can be Microsoft Windows, iOS, Unix, Android, and many others. Software that operates on top of an real-time operating system, RTOS. Firmware archived in restorable memory inside hardware. Encoded hardware. In the first decades, software was produced in monoliths. Some trials of component-based software development existed, but software started soon with following a sidetrack that was called object-oriented software development. Object orientation is not component orientation. Since a few decades, modular software development gets more attention. This is component-based software design and construction. The reason for this late introduction was the difficulty to arrange a strong enough encapsulation of the archived type and identity data. This inhibited the development of a market for exchangeable modules. Reliable encapsulation required a fast and efficient compression and encryption of these data. Ideally, the compression and encryption is supported by the supporting hardware or firmware. Recently, a market developed in which the supporting OS provides fast and efficient compression and encryption. The modules are called apps. Another requirement is the fast, reliable and secured communication of data between interfaces of modules. Communication over long distances is very vulnerable and criminal hackers try to misuse the transferred data. Also, influences from electrical disturbances can hamper correct communication. Sunspots are known for their disturbing effects. Communication via satellites is bothered by interferences with radiation from outer atmosphere. Communication via wires is less trustable than communication via optical fiber. Humanity has made itself very dependent on software modules and on communication between software applications. This is a dangerous development. This ends part 8 of a multi-part presentation. Part 8 concerns ways to save humanity, ways to save the climate, ways to save modular type communities, ways to save life on Earth, physical reality versus human control, if robots take over, religion versus science, intuition, logical reasoning, politics, how democracy controls, how autocracy controls, how physical reality controls everything. This also ends the multi-part presentation.